In the heart of a small Yoruba village, nestled among lush green fields and swaying palm trees, there was a young girl named Akinlolu. Life had been harsh for her from the very beginning. She was born into a humble farming family where her parents worked tirelessly to make ends meet. Despite their poverty, they were a loving and a close-knit family. Akinlolu was their only child, and though she was born blind, her parents doted on her, showering her with love and care. However, when Akinlolu was just 5 years old, tragedy struck. A devastating fire broke out in their small hut house late one night. Her parents tried desperately to save her, but in the chaos, they were trapped inside. Akinlolu was pulled from the flames by a neighbor, but her parents did not survive. The fire left her homeless, parentless, and alone in the world. The villagers, who were a superstitious lot, whispered that Akinlolu's blindness was a curse and that the fire was a bad omen. Many were reluctant to take her in, fearing that the curse would spread to their own families. Eventually, Akinlolu's only remaining relative, her uncle, Adewale, agreed to take her in. However, Adewale was a weak-willed man who was easily dominated by his wife, Iya Alake. Iya Alake was not pleased when Adewale brought Akinlolu into their home. She was a woman with a sharp tongue and a mean spirit, known for her bitter attitude and lack of compassion. She had 2 daughters of her own, Aduke and Funke, and she saw Akinlolu as nothing more than an extra burden. From the moment Akinlolu arrived, Iya Alake made it clear that she was not welcome. Aduke and Funke were the complete opposite of Akinlolu. They were beautiful with their mother's striking features, and they knew it. However, their beauty was marred by their behavior. They were lazy, arrogant, and spoiled, spending their days preening in front of mirrors, gossiping with friends, and chasing after boys. They refused to help with any housework, leaving all the chores to their mother. Despite their mother's complaints, they did as they pleased, knowing that she was too afraid to discipline them. Akinlolu, on the other hand, was quiet, humble, and hardworking. Though she was blind, she was determined to contribute to the household in any way she could. Every morning, before the sun even rose, she would get up to sweep the compound, fetch water from the stream, and help with the cooking. She learned to do this task by touch and memory. And despite her blindness, she rarely made mistakes. But no matter how much she did, it was never enough for Iya Alake. The woman would find any excuse to scold Akinlolu, criticizing her for being slow, for missing spots when cleaning, or for not cooking the food exactly the way she liked. When she was in a particular foul mood, Iya Alake would slap or beat Akinlolu, taking out her frustrations on the poor girl. One scorching afternoon, as the sun beat down mercilessly, Iya Alake sent Akinlolu to the market. The market was about an hour's walk from their home, a lively place filled with the sounds of traders calling out their wares, the cluttering of chickens, and the chatter of villagers. Akinlolu had made this trip many times before, but it was always a challenge. The market was a maze of narrow, crowded paths, and navigating it was difficult for someone who could not see. Clutching her basket tightly and tapping her cane in front of her, Akinlolu made her way through the bustling crowd. She relied on the familiar sounds and smell of the market to guide her. The scent of freshly baked bread meant she was near the bakery, and the sound of women haggling loudly signaled she was close to the vegetable stalls. Despite her blindness, she moved with a calm determination, a sense attuned to her surroundings. As Akinlolu approached the section of the market where she needed to buy yams and vegetables, she suddenly felt a rush of wind and heard the screaming sound of bicycle brakes. Before she could react, a young man on a bicycle came hurtling towards her. The man, who had been waving through the crowded market with little regard for the people around him, had not noticed Akinlolu until the last moment. The man yanked the handlebars to the side, causing the bicycle to swerve sharply. He narrowly avoided hitting Akinlolu, but in doing so, he lost control and crashed into a nearby store, sending baskets of tomatoes flying. The young man tumbled off the bicycle and landed hard on the ground. The market goers nearby stopped in their tracks, some gasping in shock, while others muttered disapprovingly. Akinlolu, startled by the commotion, stood frozen in place. She heard the clattering of the bicycle, the crash of the stall, and the groans of the man as he tried to get up. Despite her fear, she instinctively moved towards the sound of his voice, a cane tapping cautiously on the ground. "Are you all right?" Akinlolu asked softly, her voice trembling with concern. The young man, who was still dazed from the fall, looked up and saw Akinlolu standing there, her eyes unseeing but filled with genuine worry. For a moment, he was speechless. Here he was, lying on the ground after nearly running her over, and she was asking if he was all right. He felt a pang of guilt as he realized she was blind. I am fine," he stammered, quickly getting to his feet. "But I should be asking you that. Are you hurt?" "No," Akinlolu replied, shaking her head slightly. "I am fine. I am just glad no one was hurt." The young man, whose name was Ayotunde, was struck by her kindness. He had expected her to be angry or frightened, but instead, she seemed more concerned about him than herself. As he looked at her more closely, he noticed the weariness in her face, the simple yet tattered clothes she wore, and the basket she clutched tightly in her hands. He realized that life had not been easy for her. "I am really sorry," Ayotunde sincerely said. "I didn't see you until it was too late. Let me help you with your shopping." Before Akinlolu could protest, Ayotunde picked up her basket and offered her his hand. Hesitantly, she accepted his help, and they walked through the market together. As they moved from the stall to stall, Ayotunde couldn't help but notice how the other traders treated Akinlolu. While most were polite, a few seemed to look down on her, treating her as if she was less important because of her blindness. Ayotunde felt a surge of anger but kept it to himself. As they walked, Ayotunde struck up a conversation with Akinlolu, asking her about her life. She told him about her parents, how they had died in the fire, and how she had been taken in by her uncle and his family. She spoke in a calm, matter-of-fact tone, not wanting to burden him with her troubles, but Ayotunde could hear the sadness in her voice. When they finished shopping, Ayotunde insisted on walking Akinlolu home. As they made their way back, They continued talking, and Ayotunde found himself growing more and more impressed by her strength and resilience. Despite all that she had been through, Akinlolu remained gentle and kind, never once speaking ill of anyone. When they finally reached Iya Alake's house, Ayotunde was surprised by the sight that greeted him. The house was in despair, with cracked walls, a leaking roof, and a yard overgrown with weeds. It was clear that no one had taken care of the property in a long time. As they approached the entrance, Akinlolu stopped and turned to him, a small smile on her lips. "Thank you for helping me today," she said softly. "It is not often that someone goes out of their way for me." Ayotunde smiled back, though she couldn't see it. "It was my pleasure, Akinlolu. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. I would be happy to help." Just as they were saying their goodbyes, Iya Alake appeared at the door, her sharp eyes narrowing as she took in the sight of Ayotunde standing next to Akinlolu, holding a basket. Her expression soared immediately, suspicion flickering in her eyes. She was a woman who had learned to see the world in terms of profit and loss, and the sight of a strange young man dressed in simple clothes and holding her niece's basket immediately put her on edge. "Who is this?" Iya Alake asked, her voice sharp and filled with disdain. Her gaze flicked from Ayotunde to Akinlolu, who stood beside him with a peaceful expression. Akinlolu turned her face towards the sound of her aunt's voice. "Auntie, this is Ayotunde. He helped me at the market today when I nearly got into an accident. He has been very kind to me." Iya Alake's eyes narrowed further as she looked Ayotunde up and down. He was wearing a faded shirt and old trouser, his feet clad in worn sandals. His appearance did nothing to impress her, and she immediately dismissed him as someone of little worth. In her mind, only those who were wealthy or could offer something valuable were worth her attention. "Is that so?" she said coldly. "And what do you want in return for your so-called kindness, young man?" "Nothing in this world is free." Ayotunde could sense the hostility in her voice, but he remained calm. "I asked for nothing, madam. I was simply trying to help." Iya Alake scoffed, not believing him. She snatched the basket from his hands and shot Akinlolu a withering look. "Next time, be more careful. We can't afford to have you bringing strange men to our doorstep." Akinlolu bowed her head respectfully. "Yes, auntie." With that, Iya Alake turned on her heel and marched back into the house, leaving the door open just enough to let Akinlolu know she was expected to follow. Akinlolu hesitated for a moment, then turned back to Ayotunde, her expression apologetic. "Thank you again, Ayotunde," she said softly. "I am sorry about my aunt. She can be difficult." The following day, Ayotunde found himself thinking about Akinlolu more than he expected. Her story had touched him deeply, and he couldn't get her out of his mind. He decided to visit her again, under the guise of checking on her well-being. This time, he brought a small bag of fruit from his family's farm, hoping it would be a gesture of goodwill. When he arrived at Iya Alake's house, he knocked on the door and waited. After a few moments, Akinlolu answered, surprised but pleased to hear his voice. Ayotunde, you are back, she said, her voice filled with warmth. What brings you here today? I brought you some fruit from our farm, Ayotunde said, handing her the bag. I thought you might like them. Akinlolu accepted the bag with a smile. Thank you very much. Please come in. Before Ayotunde could step inside, Iya Alake appeared, her eyes narrowing suspiciously as she saw the bag of fruit in Akinlolu's hand. What is all this? She demanded. Ayotunde brought us some fruit, auntie, Akinlolu explained. Iya Alake's eyes darted to the bag, then back to Ayotunde. She forced a smile, though it was clear she was not pleased. How generous of you, she said through gritted teeth. But we don't need charity. We can take care of ourselves. Auntie, it is just a kind gesture, Akinlolu said, trying to ease the tension. There is no harm in accepting it. Iya Alake's eyes flashed with annoyance, but she reluctantly nodded. Fine, but don't think this means you can come around here whenever you please, she warned Ayotunde. We are not running a charity. Ayotunde smiled politely, unfazed by her hostility. I understand, madam. I will only visit when I am welcome. With that, Iya Alake turned and walked back into the house, leaving Akinlolu and Ayotunde standing by the door. Akinlolu sighed softly, feeling embarrassed by her aunt's behavior. I am sorry about that, she said quietly. She's just very protective. There is no need to apologize, Ayotunde replied. I understand. I am just glad I could see you again. As time passed, the friendship between Ayotunde and Akinlolu blossomed into something deeper. What had begun as a chance encounter grew into a bond that neither of them could have anticipated. Ayotunde found himself drawn to Akinlolu's inner beauty and strength, while Akinlolu, despite her blindness, sensed the goodness and sincerity in Ayotunde's heart. However, there was one thing Ayotunde had not yet revealed: his true background. Though he dressed simple and presented himself as an ordinary young man, Ayotunde was anything but poor. He came from a wealthy family that owned several businesses and large expanses of farmland in the neighboring town. His father, Chief Olumide, was a respected figure in the community, known for his philanthropy and strong sense of justice. However, Ayotunde had always preferred a simple life, one that allowed him to connect with people on a more genuine level. He had long grown tired of the superficiality that often accompanied wealth, so he chose to live modestly, keeping his true identity hidden. One day, as Ayotunde was walking Akinlolu home after a visit to the village well, he noticed that she seemed more tired than usual. She had been overworked by Iya Alake and her daughters, who had grown even more neglectful in their household duties. Concerned, Ayotunde decided it was time to take action. Akinlolu, he began gently. You have been doing so much for your aunts and cousins, but they don't appreciate you. It is not fair for you to carry such a heavy burden alone. Akinlolu sighed. I know, Ayotunde, but this is my life now. I have no other family, and I don't want to be a burden on anyone else. You are not a burden, Ayotunde said firmly. You deserve to be treated with kindness and respect, not as a servant. If you could change your situation, would you? Akinlolu hesitated. Of course, I would. But I don't see how that is possible. I have no money, no skills. You have more than you realize. Ayotunde interrupted. You have a good heart, a sharp mind, and the strength to endure what most people couldn't. You deserve a better life, Akinlolu, and I want to help you find it. Akinlolu was silent for a moment, her heart touched by his words. But how can you help me, Ayotunde? You have already done so much. There is something you don't know about me, Ayotunde said quietly. Something I haven't told you because I don't want it to change how you see me. But I think it is time you know the truth. Akinlolu tilted her head. Ayotunde took a deep breath. I come from a wealthy family, Akinlolu. My father is Chief Olumide, one of the most prominent men in the region. I didn't want to tell you because I wanted you to know me for who I am, not for my family's money or status. But now I think I can use that privilege to help you. Akinlolu was stunned. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. She had always thought of Ayotunde as someone who understood her struggles, someone who lived a life similar to hers. But now, she realized that it came from a world entirely different from her own. The revelation left her feeling conflicted, grateful for his intentions, but also unsure of how to respond. Ayotunde, she finally said, her voice trembling slightly. I don't know what to say. I never imagined. You don't have to say anything, Ayotunde replied softly. I only ask that you let me help you. I want to take you away from this place, away from the people who hurt you. You deserve a chance to live a life filled with joy, not sorrow. Before Akinlolu could respond, they were interrupted by the sound of Aduke and Funke approaching. The two sisters had been out gossiping with their friends and were now returning home, their voices loud and filled with disdain. When they saw Ayotunde with Akinlolu, they exchanged knowing glances, their expression turning sly. Ah, hey, Akinlolu and her poor little boyfriend, Aduke sneered, her tone dripping with sarcasm. What a lovely couple. Funke smart. Maybe he can sweep the floors for you, Akinlolu, since you are both so good at doing chores. Akinlolu lowered her head, embarrassed by their taunts. But Ayotunde remained calm. He had grown accustomed to their cruelty. But today, he felt a deep anger stirring within him. He knew he couldn't remain silent any longer. Enough! He said sharply, his voice commanding. Aduke and Funke stopped in their tracks, surprised by his tone. You both should be ashamed of yourselves. Akinlolu has done nothing but work hard for this family. Yet you treat her with nothing but disrespect. If you had an ounce of her strength and decency, you would be better people. Aduke and Funke were taken aback by his words, but their pride wouldn't allow them to back down. And who are you to lecture us? Aduke shot back. You are nothing but a poor, ragged boy with no future. Ayotunde smiled slightly, his eyes flashing with determination. Is that what you think? Well, let me correct you. I am Ayotunde, the son of Chief Olumide, and I promise you this. I will not stand by and let you or your mother continue to mistreat Akinlolu." Aduke and Funke gasped in shock, their bravado crumbling in an instant. They had never imagined that the young man they had mocked and insulted was actually from one of the wealthiest families in the region. Panic set in as they realized the potential consequences of their actions. Before they could respond, the door to the house burst open and Iya Alake stepped out. Having overheard the confrontation, her eyes were wide with shock and fear. And for the first time, her usual confidence wavered. What did you say?" she demanded, her voice trembling. You are the son of Chief Olumide." "Yes," Ayotunde replied. "And I have seen enough of how you treat Akinlolu. And this ends now." Iya Alake's face paled and she struggled to find her voice. She knew all too well the power and influence of Chief Olumide's family, and the thought of crossing them filled her with dread. But she was also a proud woman, and the idea of losing control over Akinlolu infuriated her. "Wait, Ayotunde," she stammered, her tone suddenly pleading. There is no need. There is no need for all this. We have taken care of Akinlolu for years back. She's like a daughter to us." "A daughter?" Ayotunde repeated, his voice cold. "You have treated her worse than a servant. You don't deserve to call her family." Iya Alake opened her mouth to protest, but Ayotunde cut her off. "If you care about your own well-being, you will let Akinlolu go with me. I will see to it that she is taken care of properly from now on." Realizing she had no choice, Iya Alake finally relented, her shoulders sagging in defeat. "Fine," she muttered bitterly. "Take her then. But don't expect us to care when she is gone." Akinlolu stood silently, overwhelmed by the turn of events, as Ayotunde gently took her hand, guiding her away from the house that had been her prison. Akinlolu's life changed completely after she left her aunt's house with Ayotunde. She took her to his family's estate, where she was welcomed with open hands. Chief Olumide and his wife, Madam Iyabo, were kind and gracious, treating Akinlolu with the warmth and respect she had long been denied. They were moved by her story and impressed by her resilience, and they quickly grew fond of her. Under their care, Akinlolu blossomed. She was given proper medical attention, and although her blindness could not be cured, she was provided with resources to make her life easier. She was taught new skills, including how to read and write in Braille, and was given the opportunity to learn music. As the months passed, Ayotunde and Akinlolu's friendship deepened into love. They were drawn to each other, not by superficial appearance, but by the strength of their connection, built on mutual respect. Despite their growing feelings for each other, Ayotunde and Akinlolu took their time before fully embracing their love. Both understood the significance of their bond and wanted to ensure it was built on a solid foundation. They spent countless hours talking. One day, as they sat under a large mango tree in the garden of Chief Olumide's estate, Ayotunde turned to Akinlolu, his heart full of emotion. "Akinlolu," he began, his voice soft but steady, "I have been thinking a lot about us. From the moment I met you, I knew you were special, and over time, my feelings for you have only grown stronger. You have become a part of me, a part I can't imagine living without. Akinlolu smiled, her heart swelling with love for him. Ayotunde, you have changed my life in ways I never thought possible. You gave me hope when I had none, and you showed me what it means to be truly loved. Ayotunde took her hand in ease, holding it gently. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Akinlolu. Will you marry me? Tears welled up in Akinlolu's eyes as she nodded, unable to find the words to express her happiness. Yes! Ayotunde, she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Yes, I will! The news of their engagement spread quickly, and it was met with joy. The wedding day was a grand affair, held in the village and attended by family, friends, and well-wishers from near and far. The ceremony was a celebration not just of their love, but of Akinlolu's triumph over adversity. However, not everyone was happy. Iya Alake, Aduke and Funke, who had heard of the wedding, were filled with jealousy and regret. Despite their bitterness, they dare not cause any trouble. The power and influence of Chief Olumide's family were too great, and they knew that any attempt to disrupt the wedding would result in several consequences. After the wedding, Ayotunde and Akinlolu settled into a life filled with love and contentment. Akinlolu continued to learn and grow, developing new skills and contributing to the family's business. She also became involved in charity work, helping to support and uplift other vulnerable people in the community with the help of Ayotunde. As the year went by, Iya Alake and her daughters found themselves increasingly isolated. Eventually, Iya Alake fell ill, and without Akinlolu to care for her. One day, as Iya Alake lay in bed, weak and frail, she reflects on the choice she had made. She realized that her greed, pride, had brought her nothing but misery. In a moment of clarity, Iya Alake sent a message to Ayotunde and Akinlolu, asking for their forgiveness, despite all the pain she had caused. Akinlolu's heart was filled with compassion. She and Ayotunde visited Iya Alake. In her last moment, Iya Alake wept, grateful for the mercy she did not deserve. She passed away peacefully, having made amends with the one person she had wronged the most. The tale of this story serves as a reminder that cruelty and greed only leads to loneliness and regret, while kindness, humility, and forgiveness pave the way to true happiness. In the end, it is not material wealth that defines us, but the love and compassion we show to others. Thank you guys for watching till the end. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. Click on the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. And please don't forget to like and comment down below. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye.